Hey everybody, Adam here. Hope everyone's doing well. So, I have a confession to make. I said I was going to be back soon to talk about Windows, and well, here I am over a month later. I should have more honestly said I'll be back at some indefinite time to perhaps maybe talk about Windows. That would have been the truth. Anyway, I have a good reason for the delay. It's the same reason that I'm brimming with alacrity. One could even say elation. I'm sure that's obvious. And that is because I finally got a good microphone for my iPhone. So hopefully no more crap audio. There's still going to be some wind noise, I'm sure. It's very windy here and there's just nothing I can do about that. But I still think it's going to be a big improvement. In fact, I already recorded this video twice before, deleted both takes because the audio was such trash. So, this is going to be Windows Take a Trace. Alright, so we are finally talking about Windows. Well, I'm talking about Windows, nobody else is here. So first I should say that my wife, Taryn, helped me install these windows. You could probably do it by yourself if you really had to, but I think it's better to have an extra pair of hands on a job like this. It just makes it so much easier. We installed 4 out of the 8 windows so far, so I thought this would be a good time to do an update. These are flange windows, hence the flange. That's also called a nail fin, but I recommend using screws because if you ever have to pop the window out for any reason, whether it's 2 minutes after it goes in or 20 years, your life's going to be a lot easier with screws instead of nails. But hey, what do I know? I'm just the guy building a house. Come on! Little Arrested Development reference for the hipsters. Next, I'll go over the installation details. I think this is probably the easiest and most economical way to properly install one of these windows. So the first thing you do is you tape all the way around the rough opening. And if you have a hard time with the corners, you can use stretch tape in the corners to make it easier. But we just use the same black Gorilla Tape that I used to tape the joints of the plywood. Then next what you're going to do is you're going to put a thick continuous bead of caulk on the left side top and the right side, but not the bottom. You don't want to seal up the bottom because the way these windows are designed, and most windows for that matter, oops. Oh come on nature, really? Really? Right now. Come on, go. You're ruining my video. The way these windows and most other windows are designed is to drain water through the bottom of the frame if any water gets into the window assembly anywhere. So you don't want to seal up the bottom and trap that water in there. Once you've got your caulk on there, you just pop the window in, fasten it, and then you're going to tape around the flange. Really, I should say tape over the flange. And just like the caulk, you're only going to do the sides and the top, not the bottom. And that pretty much covers it for the outside. Now, it's also recommended that you install a sill pan, so that would go between the window sill and the sill plate of the window rough opening. And that's just an extra piece of material that's like a little ramp to divert water away from the window. What I did instead was, as I was constructing the rough openings for the window, put my sill in place, one screw on one side, one screw on the other. That creates a pivot. Then with my hammer, I just give it a little shoving to tilt it ever so slightly towards the outside. Oh my God, seriously. And then once it's tilted towards the outside, just lock it up with another screw on each side. You're good to go. More or less achieves the same result, and in a mostly dry climate, I think it's just fine. It's also recommended to put a drip cap on top of the window. Now that's similar to the drip edge I've got here on the side of the deck, but designed specifically for windows. That's a detail I'm going to do when the cladding starts to go up, and I'm going to build my own, so we're not quite there yet. Now we'll go inside and talk about some of the details in there. Yeah, it's getting really messy in here. A cottontail was murdered in here the other day. There was fur and blood and bones all over the place. That has nothing to do with why it's messy in here. I don't even know why I brought that up. So what you want to do on the inside after you got the window installed is you got these gaps along the sides here. On the sides and the bottom, you've got three options. You can fill that with low expansion spray foam, the stuff that comes in a can. You could fill it with caulk, or you could use a backer rod that's like a skinny rubber tube that just gets friction fit in there. And these are air sealing details. Up at the top, however, and I learned this from Christine Williamson, the building scientist, not the lady from ESPN. At the top, you don't want to completely fill that gap. You just want to stick a backer rod in there and leave an air gap in the front. Or you can use caulk, but just don't fill it all the way. You need that air gap in the front because if water gets behind the window flange, it's most likely going to happen from the top. So you want to leave some drying potential. If you fill it up all the way, you won't have any drying potential. Next, I suppose I can just talk about the window itself, go over some of the specs. Although first I should mention, I did design, engineer, and build these windows myself. That's a lie. I bought them from Geldwin. But if I had to, I bet you I could. Also, how much you want to bet I could throw a football over the mountains? Swing. Anyway, back to the window. So, this is a casement awning window. It's got a wood frame with aluminum cladding. The wood is Arlas pine. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. It's a treated pine, rot resistant, pest resistant, all that stuff. The glass is low emissivity glass. Most people just say low E, but I'm pedantic. And it is double glazed, insulated, double pane if you're a layman. Just kidding. Sorry, we got a ghost in here apparently. And yeah, that's about it. If it looks like it has a tint to it, that's not actually a tint. That is the low E glass. So what they do is they put little specks of metal in the glass, and that metal reflects UV and infrared that's coming in from the outside, and it also reflects infrared that's going out from the inside. And little physics fun fact, if you're wondering where would infrared light be coming from within your house, the answer is literally everything in the universe that has a temperature above absolute zero is always radiating infrared radiation. So a lot of the heat that you lose from inside your house in the winter is actually radiation coming off of your body and every object and every surface in the house and going out the windows. So that's the concept there. Keep the house cooler in the summer, warmer in the winter. And low E is pretty common these days. It's not anything that special anymore. A lot of windows have low E glass. There are also different types you can get. There are kinds. There's a type that allows more heat to come in from the outside for people that live in colder climates. But I'm sort of getting beside the point there. Now I'll talk about the three different styles of windows that we're using in the house. So the first one, of course, is the wide awning casement. And you can see I opened that up just to kind of show you what that looks like when it's opened. Over here, we've got the narrow awning casement. So same deal as the other one, just a little baby version of it. And then over here we've got the vertical casement, and you can see that kind of opens like a door. Now I will tell you from my experience installing these windows, and maybe you can help me with this problem. If you then install them yourself as opposed to having a technician do it, you're probably going to have to adjust the sash on all the windows. And the sash is the part that actually opens. All of my sashes were out of alignment. None of them were perfectly square. In theory, it should be easy to adjust the sash, but these windows... Hey girl, can you keep it down over there? But these windows have stumped me because... You see this little jippy right there? You're supposed to turn that to tilt the sash the way you need it to go, but it's so perfectly smooth and cylindrical that none of my pliers can turn it, and all of my wrenches are too big. So this weekend I'm going to try a 3/8 open wrench. That's what they recommend, but I sort of doubt it's going to work. And if it doesn't work, I'm going to have to call them again, and you can believe that this time I am talking to the manager. I'm going full Karen mode on them. Sorry, Aunt Karen, that's not a reference to you. It's just a thing people say on the internet. You're a lovely woman. Lastly, just for anybody who's curious or cares, we decided to change the layout a little bit, the floor plan. So originally it was going to go bathroom, bedroom, hallway, recording studio. But now we're making the bathroom bigger, and I'm going to build a large sofa bed in the back corner over here. And so the studio will be a studio and where we sleep. So now that makes this a living room window. That's the bathroom window. That's the hallway window. And this is one of the bedroom windows because I have to install another window over here. I have to put in another large casement, vertical casement, to act as an egress window so that when I fall asleep with a lit cigarette in my mouth and set the house on fire, we don't burn to death. We can escape through that window. And you know, I always forget something, but I think this time I covered it all. I really do. So I'm going to wrap it up here, but I will be back at some indefinite time in the future to talk about showing the new shipping container that we got. Well, it's a used shipping container, but it's new to us. That's going to be a fun project. So yeah, I'll see y'all in that video. Peace. Get out of here, man. Go. Go somewhere else. Go.